Hello and welcome to A Book in 5 Minutes. My name is Lindsay Milner and I'm the owner of Silvern Training. I'm a training and development consultant and I work with people who want to take back control of their working lives and learn to love Mondays. While I've been engaged in that work, I have read a great deal of books. I've read books on personal development, business development, management, effective management, and books on thinking. And I thought it might be interesting to share some of the insights from those books with you. This week's book it's something a little bit more out of the ordinary. It is called The Best of Three Worlds and it is written by Hansa Pankhania. I hope I've pronounced that correctly. I didn't actually think to check with her. It's actually a memoir, so it's not really a book that falls into those categories. But the reason I've included it is that Hansa does work in that field. I know Hansa personally, and she was explaining to me how she came to write this memoir. She's also written books on stress. She is a business consultant. She works with organisations, particularly in the corporate field, to help them to deal with stress. And she has actually written 3 books on stress. So I'll probably review one of those another time because obviously that is very relevant to the workplace. But this one intrigued me, so I wanted to read it. Hansa was explaining to me about how people assumed she'd grown up in India. But she hasn't. She actually grew up in Kenya. She's of Indian heritage, grew up in Kenya and came to England to study and stayed here since then. But she discovered from talking to people that a lot of British people don't really understand how she came to be living in Kenya, what led a lot of Indian and Asian people to be living and working in Africa, and why did they then come to Britain. So as a part of that, she was exploring that idea with a close friend and decided that she would then actually write this memoir as a result. It's actually a really fascinating read. I mean, I totally get what Hansa is saying, that people don't understand how she and many others like her came to be British citizens, how they came to be living and working in Africa, how they came to be living and working in Britain. So this is her account. It's a personal account of her childhood in Kenya, how her parents came to be working there, her reflections on Kenyan independence from Britain, and it's also an account of her life when she moved to Britain and her working life when she married, had children, studied, and how she came to be a consultant specialising in stress in the workplace. I absolutely loved reading it. It was one of those that you couldn't put down. I read it pretty much straight through. It's not a long read, but it's still, it was a good couple of hours sitting there, like not wanting to put it down. I also get what she means about British people not really understanding how Indian people came to be living in Kenya and how they came to be British citizens. I mean, I didn't realise much of this myself until maybe a couple of years ago. We're not really taught it in schools. I think it's also quite relevant at the moment with all the Brexit that's, all of the sort of how people feel about Britain and British Empire and all of these issues that are coming to the forefront at the moment. So it was fascinating to me to actually read a personal account. She describes her childhood in Kenya and didn't realise at the time, because she obviously was quite a young child, I think sort of 6 or 8 years old, something like that, when Kenya became independent from Britain. She actually took part in all of the celebrations, but didn't realise the significance of them, didn't realise that that's actually what it was. She does also talk about her career and how she studied and became a specialist in stress in the workplace. So there's a tiny bit of a connection to the normal type of books that I read. But I would definitely recommend it just in a case of widening our horizons, just learning a little bit more about different cultures, different circumstances, different perspectives. Hansa's a lovely woman. She is really committed to helping to resolve stress in the workplace. So from that point of view, I enjoyed learning a little bit more about her and her life, and also about the wider history that came with it. So I recommend a read of it if you're interested in any of those things. And actually, I kind of recommend that we should be interested in those kind of things. The Best of Three Worlds by Hansa Pankhania. That's this week's book in 5 minutes. I'll see you next time. Bye.